what Sam Mitchell's doing fair? Reasonable?
Oh, well,
Has it angered you?
Well, I think the world's changing. You know, there'd be a time and a place in which I'd be, you know, pretty disappointed, but the reality is now that the gloves are off and all's fair in love and war, and that's the path they want to go down, then, you know, we'll play at that game too.
No regrets?
My job is to win as many games as I possibly can as the coach of this club and to improve this club in any way I see fit, so I'll continue to do that.
So you're a tough guy, like you really rough.
Are you upsetting your peers with your aggressive recruiting strategies?
I mean, I'm not sure, but that's not part of my brief as the coach of a football club. I'm sure Fags will back me up on this, or I'm putting him making it hard for him not to. But I think every coach is trying to improve their list the best way they can, and it's not the focus of this minute, but it is part of our job.
Shall we get his judgment?
Yeah.
Fags, is this all fair in the modern context, or is it too brazen?
Look, let's think about this realistically. You know, if there are players at other clubs that want to come to your club, one of the things you need to do before that actually occurs is you've got to have a conversation, and it just has to happen. You know, it's like you don't go to a new job without first of all exploring all the elements to it and what it might entail. And so for me, it's a difficult one because I think we do all need to talk to these guys that want to move clubs, and the best people to talk to them is coaches to find out whether, you know, you're a match and whether you think that person's going to fit in your club and whether he thinks he can fit in with you. So it's I don't know, I think it's a really tough issue at the moment. We all go shock horror, but, you know, all of us at some point in time when we've been coaches, we've spoken to guys from other clubs who might want to come to your club.
So you're all consenting adults, but are you at all mindful of what it does in the wake of it, where a captain and a club are now on a war footing after you've met with them?
Oh, I mean, that's not for me. I'm not going to get into specifics of this case. You always have the well-being of anyone that you're dealing with in mind, but my job is pretty clear. Make Hawthorn win. It's not to make anything else. So as long as I'm within the rules of that, then that's what I'll continue to do. And every club, every other coach will be doing exactly the same thing.
I respect that. Were you disappointed it got out publicly, or upset it was out into the public domain?
It didn't suit what we were after. We were preparing for a game 3 days later, so it wasn't ideal. But you know, I read the quote somewhere that you can walk and chew gum at the same time. I thought that was reasonably well said. You know, we spend most of our week preparing for the weekend, but you still have to have the next year and the next years in mind. Was it ideal? No, but it didn't seem to hurt us on the weekend.
Zac Merrett, he's been in the headlines, it's been bubbling away, but the groundswell is starting to build for the Essendon champ.
Yeah, so no doubt Essendon will continue to deny it. We're not trading this bloke under any circumstances, but this one has shifted and significantly across the weekend. This is a club, Essendon now, who's realising we have to trade our captain. We just have to make sure we get the best possible deal. So what will happen is his manager, Tom Petroro, will be the one who effectively brokers this deal. Now, the problem is that Essendon will say we want 2 first-round picks and maybe another quality player, and Hawthorn is always hard to deal with. They were hard to deal with in the Tom Barrass situation. They'll say he's probably worth pick 8. Merrett is required by the AFL at Monday's Brownlow medal. He's talking about giving the captaincy away. He's talking about, you know, potentially not turning up in the best and the fairest. He doesn't have to do that. Just say, I want to be traded. I think all of you guys who have been in senior leadership positions, you know that he can't walk back into that club now as captain, and probably not next year under any circumstance.
I was interested with Nick Martin and Mason Redmond, teammates of his, coming out publicly and criticising me. Very rarely you see players, if ever, teammates get involved in the public narrative when it comes to business decisions.
So what does that tell you, Brownie? Does that tell you that...
Well, I just wonder whether they were pushed up by the club. Were they mouthpieces for the club?
The club would say no, that it wasn't orchestrated, even though rival clubs would say, well, that's the inescapable conclusion. They said that the players were so upset about people talking about their culture and the fabric of the club that they went to Craig Vozzo, the club's chief executive, and then those media interviews were arranged. It certainly drove a wedge between the club. And so all I'd say is to say, OK, Zac, you keep your head high. Don't have to threaten all of these things. You're a great leader. You want to move on, get that trade done. Guys, Brad Scott in February talked about Sam Draper, and he talked about keeping players at the footy club when they didn't want to be there. Here's his quote in part. A player in the end resents it and looks back and thinks that they were either guilted into staying or coerced into staying. We've just talked about Christian Petracca. Do you fundamentally agree with that you cannot keep players who do not want to be there, even if they're your captain?
There is situations. Ryan O'Keefe wanted to get out of Sydney and won a North Smith medal the next year, the premiership team. Like, you know, so it has happened.
It's the exception to the rule, though.
It is an exception. Yeah.
And the difference in the Petrarca situation is there isn't much else changing at Essendon.
But even the difference between those two players, and no offence to Sam Draper, but he ain't at the level that Zac Merrett is, and he's not the captain of the football
and an unrestricted
club.
free agent, and Essendon would say it's different, but fundamentally...
And not as public.
Yep.
So I just think these... At the start, I think I said on this show that Essendon should be doing as much as they possibly can to keep him. I don't think that's the case anymore. I don't think what's happened, those relationships internally can't be repaired. I know if I was a player, you know, an Andrew McGrath or someone like that, I couldn't forgive a player that's been so public about wanting to get out and meeting with other clubs as a captain of the football club and a contracted player.
And you might be okay on the surface and you might get it 95% right, but as we see, this time of year is when the bonds get tested and you can go through the home and away without a problem, but then when the pressure comes on, something will crack and that's where the gaps are found. So I don't think... You've got to be thinking, hey, are you building a club that can be successful in September, not one that's just going to win home and away games.
Ralph, we've got to go to a break very quickly, but Charlie Curnow in the Gold Coast, what's that looking like?
So Gold Coast spent the final series denying that they're interested in Curnow. People who would know suggest that the coach in Damien Hardwick is very interested in him. He doesn't want to trade away Ethan Reid, doesn't want to trade away his Nepo babies in Jed Walter, but this is 15 years in the waiting. Finally, a superstar player says, I want to play with you. There's got to be a way in which this club can get it done over the next 4 weeks.
The Merrett melodrama, which has been such a big part of the week, is the president of Essendon, Dave Barham, sent a message to members today acknowledging the frustration and anxiety that many will have felt, and his statement is as unequivocal as the others we've heard. Let me be clear, Zac Merrett is contracted and our position is clear. He will not be traded.
He's not going to the BNF, is he?
It's going to be unbelievable because he'll win the BNF. He's 6 BNF.
They've got a little bit of time to figure that out. That's October 2.
October 2, yeah.
Hope that it doesn't get that ugly.
Well, that's exactly what you need to say if you want to trade your player for maximum value.
Bumping the price up, you reckon?
How else? You're not going to say, yes, we're going to trade him away.
God, there's going to be some uncomfortable conversations if he stays.
All right, Sam Mitchell has just been asked about Zac Merrett, so let's drop back in.
A contracted opposition captain in the weekend final if you had your time again, given the storm that has erupted in the last couple of days?
I'm not going to get into any details, but our playing group and I couldn't have prepared any better for this game. Yep. That's what I would say.
So no regrets?
My job is to win as many games as I possibly can as the coach of this club and to improve this club in any way I see fit. So I'll continue to do that.
Extra fun that you have to go through.
Unrepentant. He just does not care, those who think it's the wrong thing to do.
He's right, though.
Yeah.
It's his job. He's employed by the Hawthorn Football Club to make that team better.
And even Brad Scott said during the week, all is fair in love and war.
Gloves are off.
How did it get out?
Yeah, so that is interesting in its own right. If Zac Merrett's sitting watching on the couch tonight and going, oh, I'd be pretty happy to get there next year.